Well, topping the news at 5:30, New York's budget is now 23 days late. Yesterday, lawmakers passed another budget extender.
At this point, there are still four big topics that are hanging up negotiations. They include a cell phone ban in schools, bell to bell, mask restrictions, changes to involuntary commitments, and the changes to the state's discovery laws. We're joined now by Republican Assemblyman Pat Chludzinski, who represents Cheektowaga and parts other areas. Pat, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dave and Kelsey. How are you?
We are doing well. Let's get right into the state budget now. 23 days late. You are a freshman lawmaker. This is your first opportunity in Albany. Give us your first impressions of the budget process that you've witnessed.
Well, coming into my first budget process, I was hopeful that we could make some meaningful progress for the constituents in Western New York. And it seems like we're getting further and further past that April 1st deadline. As you know, we just passed on Tuesday the 7th budget extender, and we're back at it again tomorrow, likely to pass another extender. And it's particularly frustrating that we just keep passing extender bills to keep the government operating for 2 or 3 days at a time, and nothing seems to happen. No negotiations, no talks, no agreements, no transparency, and until it's time to pass another extender. So, that's the process we've been going through right now. I understand that the governor's desire for discovery reforms appears to be one of the biggest roadblocks right now. And I think we're doing a disservice to our constituents and our local governments and school districts by delaying the state budget over these policy debates. I would say that in regards to discovery, though, I am supportive, or I'm not supportive of putting policy into the budget bills, but to the governor's credit on this, I would agree with the governor's proposals to change some of the laws so that our district attorneys don't have cases dismissed due to technicalities by the current overburdensome discovery laws that exist. I've spoken to our Erie County District Attorney Kane in regards to this. He's in favor of it. The DAs across New York State are in favor of it. It's some common sense legislation that needs to be passed.
I mean, where are things standing with that right now? And do you feel like, folks are just standing around twiddling their thumbs at this point? Where are things standing with the discovery laws?
Well, with the discovery, from what I understand, this isn't even a partisan issue. It's some extreme downstate members of the Democrat Party that are opposed to and holding up on the governor's common sense proposals to change this discovery law. And it should be about prioritizing victims and law-abiding people and maintaining a fair justice system for defendants as well. But this seems to be a big sticking point for them as far as a policy matter in the state budget. And it's not fair to our school districts who have to plan their budgets and our municipalities who have to plan their budgets all around what the state's doing.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Pat, because Buffalo is in a similar situation, and many other, like you mentioned, municipalities and school districts are trying to budget for the coming year, but have to wait until they get that final number from the state. So Buffalo certainly not alone, local school districts certainly not alone. I'm curious about Cheektowaga. Are there any projects or is there any money that is due to your town that you represent that is being held up by these policy discussions that are going on by three people in a room in Albany?
Well, in regards to the local projects in the town of Cheektowaga and in my district, one of the big things where the budget fell short was the Governor Hochul's plan to flatline CHIPS, which is used by our local municipalities to pave roads, improvements to our towns and village roads from rough Western New York winters. And this has maintained a flat level of funding for the last several years. And as we all know, the cost of everything has gone up. So that's one area where I would really like to see it properly funded. And it just doesn't look like that's made it into the budget to increase any lines for CHIPS so that our local towns and villages can do these road improvements that they desperately need.
Let's talk about cell phone bans potentially in schools. You were appointed to the Education Budget Committee. What are your thoughts on that? That is a big sticking point for the governor. She's been talking about that quite a bit lately.
Well, I know she has the proposed statewide cell phone mobile device ban that she'd like to include into the budget. Here in my district, I have already met and spoken to and heard from all my school district superintendents, and they were more or less comfortable with existing student cell phone policies that they have in their own districts. And understandably, they become concerned anytime New York State Albany bureaucrats come in and try to mandate some sort of policy that could be expensive or difficult for them to implement when they already have their own. Cell phones are not a new issue. They've been around quite a few years now. So most school districts have already have in place procedures for what works for their district. And so what I'd like to see is local control, but that remains to be seen how that would be enacted in the governor's budget.
Pat, you mentioned about the sort of local control on that, and you also mentioned on the other side of the coin the unfunded mandates that often come from Albany down to the local level and oftentimes affect school districts on a very financial level. So relative to whatever happens, whether it's a bell-to-bell ban, whether it's occasional access, we don't know yet, but do you think and are you confident that you can assure school districts in your district that they will be able to have the money from the state to pay for whatever new programs will be associated with this cell phone ban or changes?
Well, that would be the big question. Yeah, what exactly are the mandates that are going to come down with this cell phone ban, and what is it going to cost the school districts to implement it? That remains to be seen. And that's why I really believe that the local control on this issue, which I've heard is a possibility that the governor's proposal will maintain a degree of local control for individual school districts to implement this policy. So we'll see how the final product is. But what works in one part of the state may not work in another part of the state, and especially when a lot of these school districts already have their own policies and procedures that work for them. So to come in and just say that they have to do something different when they already have a policy that works for them would just be not worth it, in my opinion.
All right, Assemblyman Pat Chludzinski, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate you having me on. Have a great day.
You too, Pat.
Thank you.